You and I have incredible power, power that we may not be aware of, power that is within us, and also it is within our reach. It is our spiritual power, and with this power, we can do wonders. We can do things we thought are impossible, but it is definitely important to recognize that we have it. Many times people misconduct themselves. Why? Because they undervalue who they are. But if we know who we are, we will realize how much we can charge the world with our spiritual power. Oftentimes we make mistakes or we behave or act in a way where we wish we didn't. Not only could it be impulsive, but it could also be that we don't believe in ourselves. We forgot who we are. We forgot how great we can be, and we also need to recognize our great qualities. And I'm here to share with you 2 practical tips in the end about our spiritual power. I publish these videos that are being and becoming mostly for the reason of recognizing first who you are, which is being, and the becoming is as I become so much more, right? Awakening awareness of your greatness and potential, meaning I have to know that I'm great, that I was born to be great. And just like everybody else, we all have flaws, we all have imperfections, but it's those imperfections that are actually going to make me greater. And if we look at it in this way, and I will elaborate further, we will discover our hidden spiritual powers. In the society that we live in, it is so in to multitask, to do so much, to be able to be so very busy and accomplish so much. Because we live in the physical world, this is very admirable. Wow, she can do so much. Wow, she didn't even sit down for a second. She did so much. We hear this sometimes. And sometimes we feel like, oh, it's admirable. If she does so much, if she has so much energy, then I can do it too. But what I really want to address is that a person cannot really do so many things at once 100% well. We can't. We are wired in a way where we could do a few things well at the same time. However, to give our 100% focus and attention to do things in a way that is the way it's meant to be done is very difficult. And we are meant to concentrate on one thing at a time, to put focus in it one thing at a time. Especially when it comes to spirituality, we can accomplish so much by accomplishing so many things at once. So only in the area really of spirituality do we really want to strive to do so many things at once. Not really in the area of physicality. Don't worry if you can't cook dinner at the same time, as well as attend to the children's homework, as well as be on a phone call. Don't worry about that. We want to focus on being able to focus more clearly in the physical world and be able to be more spiritually as we do mitzvot, as we do these positive commandments. So when a person is doing so many things at once physically, they're doing many things not so well, right? There's no way that a mother could be extremely patient with her child, at the same time address to the phone call, give the person your undivided attention, and make sure the soup came out well, exactly the way she wanted. It just doesn't all happen at once, and it's really not expected to. So we want to be able to address that I need to focus spiritually on my hidden powers, and I can accomplish a lot of things at once spiritually. So we are all doing mitzvot, and we all give our own flavor to the mitzvot that we do, to the positive commandments that we do. Now, from the beginning of time, there have been trillions of people created, and we all look different. Yes, there's such a thing as identical twins, but even their family who knows them knows how different they are, knows how different they look, because to the family it's really evident. So really no two people have ever been created alike. I mean, the same, completely the same. And it's so beautiful because everything that's physical is really a mashal for the spiritual. In other words, just like your mitzvot, but let's say whatever mitzvah that you do, keep Shabbat. There's no way that I keep Shabbat the same way. Maybe I'm putting a different kind of energy. Maybe you're putting in a more energy with more concentration and kavana and more meaning into what you're doing and really enjoying what you're cooking, and I'm growing in different ways. So everybody puts their own flavor to the mitzvot, and that cannot be replicated by somebody else. It could be admired, but we all put our own flavor into the mitzvot that we do. And as long as we are alive, the world cannot function without us. If I am here today, that means the world cannot function without me. Now, in religious communities, this is definitely a challenge to recognize of the greatness of you. What do we mean? Number one, the challenge is a person may wonder if they matter. If you live in a beautiful, growing religious community, everybody's doing the mitzvah, everybody's doing the chesed, everybody's doing the kindness, and you feel like you're just part of the crowd, doing what is right, just like other members in the community. The second challenge is a person robotically does the mitzvot without thinking. Now, the goal is to put thought into what we're doing to make it really, really count. Sometimes a person may think, I have to take upon more to change the world. I have to take upon more to be a better person, to reveal my hidden powers, to be a bigger person spiritually. But especially us as busy women and moms who run homes, we may not have a lot of time allocated, a small portion. I tell women who are very busy and they ask me, what can I do to incorporate this also into my life? And very often I tell them, look at your life as a pizza pie, right? You allocate certain time for responsibilities, for chores, for self-care, for family responsibilities, for cleanup. You can't jam another thing in. You really have to take something out and to put another thing in. And if we recognize this and we realize how important it is to make sure that we make time for what's important. So a lot of times we can't make time for another mitzvah into our life. Let's say it's a busy mom and she really can't make time for a davening from the siddur, praying from the siddur. She really doesn't have that at that time. Whatever she's doing, she should do even better. Whatever the mitzvot that she's doing to enhance the way she does it. A person needs to be conscious of what they are doing. A person needs to live in the present and be present. The more awareness that we put into our lives, the more spiritually enriched we become. Now, without adding more to our schedules, we can just be present and consciously thinking about the mitzvot that we're doing. In other words, just as you're cooking, Hashem, I'm cooking for my family, just like you are taking care of the cuisine of an ant, of everybody in the world. You're emulating Hashem. That is a mitzvah that you can be doing. And if you're doing it anyway, might as well make it enriched, make it flavorful, right? Make it impact, the spiritual world, your world forever. Rabbi Leah Dachan was asked, how can one impact the war effort in a positive way? And he said to try to do whatever you are already doing, just better. Put thought into it, enhance it in some way. In other words, do what you are doing more consciously. Now, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclinations, has us thinking very differently. It tells a person that you really can't think all the time. Who do you think you are? You can think all the time. It's draining. A person can't think all the time. Sometimes they act impulsively. But thinking is not all or nothing. In other words, if I'm thinking some of the day, it doesn't take away from, whatever I did the rest of the day. I have to do my best and incorporate as much thought as possible. It is hard work to think all the time, but practice creates habits, and eventually they do become part of your nature. Just like you can't eat sugar the way you used to eat sugar physically, this is also another mashal for spiritually. You just can't do the same habits anymore. When you work on a character trait, it becomes the new you. So does it matter if I'm giving thought to what I'm doing, if I'm doing good things anyway? You're doing what you're doing anyway. You're taking care of your home. You're cooking for someone who just had a baby. You're doing it anyway. Why do I have to put thought into it? And the truth of the matter is, we do have to put thought into it. To enrich our mitzvot, to make them flavorful, to make them meaningful, right? It's just like an example. One of the examples I give in my marriage workshops is, during date night. If you're planning a date night with your husband and you ask him, I really, really want to go. Let's say it's Sunday night. I really, really want to go. Please, please, please. And he's like, I don't really want to go. I kind of want to stay in. And you're being really insistent. And he just finally gives in because he just wants to make you happy, and he just doesn't want to argue. He doesn't want to discuss anything. He's just tired of making arrangements, tired of making sense, and tired of saying no. So he just gives in. Versus a wife who says, I would love to go out with you this week. I really miss spending time with you. And let's say he makes those arrangements Sunday night, and maybe, you have to take care of the babysitting, but he tells you, Sunday night, I would love to spend time with you. Let's step out, even if it's spontaneous. It means a lot more. It means a lot more to the wife, and it's exactly what we want. So just like we're saying, we're doing what we're doing anyway, but it's how we're doing it, right? We're putting thought into it. The fact that the wife sees the husband put thought into it, thought about it, it means so much more versus just going out anyway, right? So we want to make sure that we understand that we need to use our gifts and talents, whatever Hashem gave us, purposefully in order to do the mitzvot that we're doing, right? In the beginning of Shabbat Shmona Esrei, it says, Moshe was rejoicing in the gift that he was given to do. Now, Moshe did all the steps he did in order for Klal Yisrael to have received the Torah. But the truth of the matter is, people don't make things happen. Hashem makes things happen. The Torah would have been given to us anyway, in another way. But Hashem decided to choose Moshe to be the shaliach, to be the messenger, for us to receive the Torah. He decided to give it to us through him. And Moshe was rejoicing that he was the messenger. He was rejoicing in his mission. In other words, if you don't do your job, somebody else will. Even if Moshe did not take the steps he took, someone else would have done it. Moshe rejoices because Hashem chose him and enabled him to be the messenger and give us the Torah. Now, so that means if I am eager enough, Hashem will choose me. If sometimes we're like, Hashem, I really want to be helpful this way. I really want to have a bigger house so I can do this chesed, right? And you really, really want. The only thing you really have to do is want and pray. Hashem makes things happen. He has gazillions of ways to do anything, to make things happen. It's all about enhancing our emunah and bitachon and not trying to make sense out of our lives. It's about really trusting in him and saying, I really want, please enable me to be that shaliach. And it doesn't have to make sense. You don't have to come from a prominent family to be a big person. All you have to do is to want, and Hashem will make it happen. Wake up in the morning, eager to do mitzvot, because Hashem chose you for this opportunity. So our challenges are opportunities. We are eager to bring in spiritual sunshine to somebody's world. We are eager to ease somebody's pain. Now Hashem does everything in this world. We just need to play the game of hishtadlut, personal effort. I need to believe that really it's Hashem doing everything. And if I am zoche, if I'm meriting to do a chesed, it's really Hashem doing it. But I will be rewarded anyway because I rejoiced in doing this commandment. I did it with love. I did it with excitement. I did it with flavor. Happy to do my part. So, there was a teacher who I was talking to this week. And she, I was asking how she's doing. And she said one of her sons was sick. And I said, so I hope he feels better. And she said, I wish it was strep. We found out it wasn't strep. And I said, okay, so what is it? She goes, it's a viral. So that means you have to wait it out. And then she said, I wish it was strep because then I would know to give it antibiotics to my son. So I would know what he has and he'd probably feel better faster, right? So it made me think, we like to be in control. We like to know that, in 3-4 days, I'll be able to do this. We like to think that we make things happen. And we also like to think that things make things happen. Like the antibiotics made it happen. The antibiotics will make sure that in 3-4 days he'll be so much better. But if a child is meant to be sick for X amount of time, he will be sick with X amount of time, virus or not. Right? So I cannot believe that I have to have my trust in things, in my money, in my talents, in my gifts, in my abilities. No, if Hashem doesn't want me to be successful in some way, even with my gifts and my talents, then this is what the circumstances I need to accept with love. And when Hashem sees that I'm rejoicing in my position, in my circumstances, then I get credit for what I'm doing. I'm rewarded with the mitzvah anyway. Why? Because I'm rejoicing. It's like a different gold medal. It's a shinier medal because you are entrusting Hashem. You are grateful to Hashem for enabling you to do this mitzvah, and you're so happy to do it, and you will be rewarded incredibly. Yaakov, in the parsha that we're learning about Vayetze, Yaakov is going to sleep around nocturnal wild animals. They're all around him. Now, before he goes to sleep, he puts stones around his head, which is a form of protection, meaning I'm ultimately doing something, some kind of personal effort, doing something, I'm relying on Hashem for protection, but physically I'm doing this because I have to play the game of hishtadlut, right? If you want to go find a job, you go literally try to go online, try to create your resume, find a job, but in the end, you really have to trust in Hashem and pray to Him to find your job, right? He has different ways of doing that. So it's teaching us, be careful. Why did he put the stones around his head? It is teaching us, be careful that what takes residence in your brain. Be careful what you're filling up your head with, what you're believing in. Be careful around magazines, around papers, around articles, around the news, around certain types of people. Be careful not to infiltrate your brain with negativity and falsehood. Only allow the Torah to have attitudes of Torah into your brain, into your head. So if I'm trying my best, Hashem will protect me. And we're wrapping it up. Unleash your hidden power. Unleash your hidden power. Your hidden power is your spiritual power. Believe in yourself. You are great. Even when you make mistakes, pull yourself back up, because as long as you're alive, the world cannot go on without you. So 2 practical tips I will leave you with is, number 1, an affirmation. As long as I'm alive, the world cannot function without me. And number 2 is pick 1 mitzvah a day and think about all the mitzvah you are doing with that mitzvah. For example, you're reading a book to your child at bedtime. You're doing so much chesed, so much kind acts. Even though you're tired, you're reading a book. You're doing something that they want. You're giving them their attention or that love language. Your time, your love. There's so much chesed involved. Your care. And that could really make or break someone's childhood because they felt like they needed attention. So you could really not even affect them, but their children and the rest of the progeny, really by this simple act of chesed. Really do it with kavana, really do it with concentration and love. Appreciating the insights of Rebbe Tanesta Bela Schwartz on some of her ideas on Parsha Vayetze. Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming. Awakening awareness of your greatness and potential.